What is up, everybody? Jay Nell here with my Bellator 131 recap video. It was actually a pretty good event. I hope you saw it. I'm only going to talk about 3 fights here. I did not do a prediction video because, again, I was slipping last week and I just was not on my game. So, real quick, King Mo finished Joe Vetapo in the 3rd round, and he just beat him. He beat him from minute 1 to minute end, and it was one of those, okay, ref, when are you going to stop this fight? He had him all bloodied up. It was to the point where you got the feeling that he really wasn't trying to finish Joe. He was just trying to win the fight, get the ref to stop it, because he kind of was pulling back on the punches. He didn't do as much as, he didn't go crazy on him. He didn't finish him like he could have. So I guess a good win for him, but he dominated this guy. So I'm going to tell you who he called out. He called out the winner of the main event, but we'll talk about that later. Next up, I want to talk about the co-main event between Michael Chandler and Will Brooks, because this was a good fight. I hope you saw it. If you didn't, look it up. It was a good fight. And going back and forth, crazy scrambles on the ground, takedowns, kicks, and spinning elbow fists, and nice elbows. Man, Will Brooks in space is a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. And Michael Chandler didn't want any parts of that. He hits hard. He's much more powerful than Michael is, and that was clear. When he was tagging him with those kicks, he was moving Michael's whole body. Even punches, moving his whole body. So he was clearly more powerful than him. So Michael's game was up against that fence and on the ground, and he landed takedowns, punches up against the fence. It was very, very competitive. Very competitive. We get to the 4th round. Still competitive. Going back and forth. And then Will lands a beautiful punch. All face, hard, all of his body into it. Beautiful punch. And Michael just stopped fighting. He just stopped fighting. It was crazy looking at it. When I was watching it initially, it was a weird angle, so I couldn't really tell. When the ref stopped, I was like, wait a minute, why did you stop it? But then when we saw the replay from a different angle, you saw why. Michael just... That punch, Will punched the heart out of that man. He knocked the spirit out the boy. He lands the hit. Okay, Michael's dazed. He's out of it. He looks up. He starts to back away, and he puts his hands up, not to cover, but like, no, stop. Don't hit me again. He puts his hands up, backs up against the fence. Will's kind of hesitant, but he's still hitting him because, of course, he wants to win the fight. So he's kind of hesitant, but he's still tagging him. And each time he's tagging him, again, he's not covering up like this. He's like, no, puts his hands over his chest, starts to turns his back to Will. Will lands a hit to the side of the face, and it bounces his head up against the solid part that separates each fence part. You have the fence link part, and then the hard column part, and then the fence part again. He was right against the column part. Will lands a punch to the side of the head. His head bounces off the column. His whole back is to Will now, and he's like this. He's done. He's done. He stopped fighting. Will knocked the will out of Michael Chandler and became the undisputed lightweight champion. Good fight. Check it out. Let me know who you want to see Will and Michael fight next. But it was interesting. I've never seen a fighter just stop. I've seen fighters tap due to strikes while they're on the ground, getting just pummeled and tapped due to strikes. But this was one hit, and he turned around and said, leave me alone. And you gotta watch it. Now, main event, and now after all the trash talk, we finally saw Tito Ortiz take on Stephan Bonnar. This came down to a split decision in favor of Tito Ortiz, and I totally agree. In fact, I don't even really see why it was a split decision, because really it breaks down like this. Stephan Bonnar, he's kind of your everyman's fighter. He's like that guy who was a great athlete in high school, maybe even all the way through college, then got a regular job, had some kids, but always stayed in shape, and then somewhere in his late 20s, early 30s, decided to get back in there and give it a shot, put on some great fights, became a fan favorite because he's one of those, I call crazy white boys who see their own blood and like, yeah, my own blood, yeah! That's Stephan Bonnar. Okay, he sees his own blood, gets hyped up, and he can take a punch. So he wins enough, and he's a fan favorite, so he keeps a job. You know what I'm saying? Now you have Tito Ortiz, who was a high-level wrestler all the way up through high school and up through college, then went straight into MMA. Never had a regular job. Always had top-level coaches, top level facilities, nutritionists, the whole nine. He had a machine behind him. Tito Ortiz has always had a machine behind him after he had a coach in between high school and college who took him under his wing. Because, Tito had a tattered past, as we know. He could have, gotten into some trouble. That coach took him under his wing, found the skill in him, and ever since then, he had a machine behind him. So he's just a pro. Tito's more of a pro, has higher level skill, more of an athlete. The only thing that was in favor of Stephan is if Tito wasn't 100%, because he's had so many injuries, neck injuries, back injuries, serious injuries. But apparently, he was okay enough. And like I said, in my opinion, it wasn't even a split decision. Let me know who you think. King Mo, of course, called out Tito Ortiz. So let me know what you think of that. Let me know what you think of the whole event. And let me know any injury updates. Talk to me. Take care. And goodbye.